Hello, loves. This is Deranged Defect, and I'm just here to review the movie Cloverfield, which I must say is an absolute horror. And I don't want people to think, oh my gosh, it's Cloverfield though, it got the best reviews. Just because something got the best reviews doesn't mean it's good at all. Alright, first problem with Cloverfield is, well, I can't say it was a problem. When I went to see Cloverfield, in my neighborhood there's $5 Tuesday. So I only paid $5 to see Cloverfield. So for paying $5, it wasn't that bad. If I was paid $10.25, which is how much a ticket costs in my neighborhood, I would probably have shot the screen. But this is how the game, game. I was just watching the game again. This is how the movie went. At the very beginning, you see this kind of documentary type thing. Like, you know how you're cheap enough where you get one tape and you record over and over and just to save money. Well, that's what it seemed like. You have the first 30-40 minutes of Cloverfield. It's about this guy and his girlfriend, how much they're in love with each other, and then eventually it goes to this party scene where she's with this new guy now. And the last thing he says to her is good luck, Ben, or good luck, whatever that guy she was with. And she looking like, oh my gosh, he just basically called me a whore. So the movie continues, progresses, and it's like, oh my gosh, is this really Cloverfield? And then all of a sudden, bam, there's a huge shake. The lights go off for a quick second, and then they look outside and they see things are exploding. They look on the news, things are exploding. So when it shakes again, they run out of the building, and also you see them running. Statue of Liberty comes, they hide in the store, blah, 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 blah. Basically, if you really want to know what the movie's about, throughout the entire course of the movie, it's them trying to save the girl who was his girlfriend. The girl, I don't even remember names anymore, but the one he basically called a slut without directly saying it. And they're jumping over buildings, climbing through walls, going against the monster, killed most of their friends, and you know what happens? They finally reach the girl. She's still alive. Then they're coming out. It's 3 of them left. Then the one with the camera who's recording this entire thing turns around, the monster's behind him, and he dies. Right? And you think throughout the entire film, you're like, okay. So, instead of leaving the camera there, the 2 friends, the girl who they saved throughout the entire course of the movie, and the guy who's the only one who's nagging this find her, everybody no, let's go across the bridge and get saved, and it's them 2 left, and they hide under a bridge in Central Park. Now, I was thinking to myself, why in God's name would you hide under a bridge? Just totally collapse on you, and guess what? That's what happened. And when it collapsed on them, the guy who had videotaped it saying, if this gets to you, blah, 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 blah. And it collapsed on them, and the camera finally breaks, and then the credits come. And you're asking yourself, what the fuck? It just cut off in the middle of the action. So, this is basically what happens. After the credits, you hear this 2-second, 3-second roaring. And this, if you reverse it, it proves that the monster is not yet dead. So, Cloverfield, the way in it is setting up for a part 2. So, get out your piggy banks. There will be a part 2. So, what was wrong with this movie? 1, it started with a not totally unrelated beginning, but it was really confusing, that made you wonder if you really wanted to spend your money on watching half of the movie based on that one girl. 2, the ending felt like it cut off in the middle, that they could have added at least 30 more minutes of action in there. Some of it was really predictable. After all the shooting and the monster's not dead, where did the monster come from? It shows it coming out of the water, but this whole time that we're doing all this deep sea navigation and we have tunnels underwater and you haven't found this monster the entire time. And then they do some type of I Am Legend / evolution / whatever type thing and trying to close off Manhattan. Who didn't see that coming? And and did I tell you, on the helicopter, when they're saved, they reach the final helicopter, like in I Am Legend. The family reached the final helicopter, and it goes up in the air, but something happens. Yeah, the monster that was shot down gets up and hits the plane, and bam, it crashes, and then they die. They didn't die in the crash. That's when they landed in Central Park. Wow, I have a cold. Anyway. Okay, third thing that I do not like about Cloverfield is the fact that it's doing some shit you wouldn't never do. I mean, I personally love my friend Adama, Lucero, Shikima, but then again, it depends. But I would never, if a monster's coming, the buildings are crashing down, there's explosion, who would save a life? Who's thinking of that? But then again, it might be considered positive because it's showing good values to have in a strong relationship and friendship, blah, 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 blah. Okay, now some positive aspects of the movie. One, it has a lot of action, especially the subway scene in which they hide in the subway and use the tunnels to get through to their friend, which I found pretty cool because I always wanted to walk in the subway, but it was also kind of stupid that this whole time that they're in the dark, they didn't expect something to jump out. I found that kind of stupid. Two rather, of good things is that it set itself up for a part 2, but at the same time, you're like, come on, just why bother? There's so many damn movies that have it's like a series and stuff. I don't need to keep up with another one. Let's see. 3, the acting was great. 4, I could say the action was cool, but for the most part, it seemed like a ripoff of things that I have seen before in other movies. But believe me, I'm gonna load my I Am Legend review of that soon. The Statue of Liberty is not that close to Manhattan, so the fact his head got off, it was kind of like okay. Yeah, that's basically it for Cloverfield. I don't recommend anyone seeing it because I know I put some things, my comments and stuff were out of order of what actually happened in the movie, and I really don't want to put in order for you guys, for the people who's going to watch it and the people who don't want to watch it. But basically what I said here is a general overview, and you might feel different. You might think it's a wonderful movie and that all that stuff was necessarily, maybe it might be coming up in part 2, who knows, but I do not recommend seeing it unless you're going to pay $5 for the bootleg DVD and you can see it like over and over, or $5 tickets if you have like $5 Tuesday like I do, or $5 Wednesday or whatever day. But I certainly won't recommend to spend more than $20 on it. That's including popcorn and everything. If you're taking your friends and stuff, don't buy them shit, okay? Because you're gonna be sitting there bored out of your mind for the first. And you might think I'm lying, but the entire time the movie was going on, each time somebody died, I had to laugh because it's just stupidity. Like going to Subway, somebody dies, getting infected by a bite because you went into the Subway with that person, you want to go away. That's laughter, stuff like that. So Cloverfield overall, I'll give it a 2.5 out of 5 because it seemed like a horror, scare, thriller type movie, but when you go to watch it, it's really just a load of crap from different movies, and it seems something you expect, and most of the time, maybe I'm not sure if something like that would ever happen, but it has that kid-like thing that you want to see it because it's like all suspenseful and it makes you think of what's going to happen. But Cloverfield, honestly, don't spend your money on it. If you want to see it and review it for yourself, you can post a response you've already done to Cloverfield, because I will certainly be interested in hearing your thoughts and opinion. So for Cloverfield, I give you a 2.5 out of 5.